Hey Book Dragons, welcome back to my channel. I am glad you could be here with me. Today we are doing a bookshelf tour coming right up. So it has been a long time since I've done a bookshelf tour. I mean really long. I have been at this almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years in August. And I haven't done a bookshelf tour since about the beginning of my channel, really close to there. So if you want to check my old ones out, I'll leave a link in the description below so you can if you're interested. And you know, you might find those entertaining, especially when comparing it to this one. I'm doing a little bit differently. This time I'm going to give a little bit more detail about each of the books on my shelf, and so it's going to be split up into several videos. I'm not going to release them all at once, probably over the next several weeks or so. I will be doing a few different videos, and then I'll come back and do another shelf on my bookshelf. And then all totaled, it will come out to this grand and epic bookshelf tour that you can just binge watch sometime if you want. So here we go. Don't forget to subscribe and like and all that good stuff. You see the little ticker right at the bottom of the screen there. So have at it. Let's get right to it. Okay, shall we? Oh, the first one is a chunker, and that is the Books of Earthsea by Ursula K. Le Guin. This is a fantastic story, or at least the first book is. I have not read past the first book. My goal is to eventually reread book 1 and read the remaining 7 books. And there are other stories in here. There's some short stories. There's some how I created Earthsea type essays in here as well. So this is the magnum opus for the true fan of Earthsea, and I do love the world of Earthsea. And I hope you guys get a chance to pick it up. This is beautifully illustrated. I mean, come on, it's such a cool edition. And it's not very expensive either. You can usually find it for pretty inexpensive. So I'll leave a link in the description where you can pick this up. All right? And the next book on my shelf is The View from the Cheap Seats by Neil Gaiman. Now this is a collection of essays that he wrote. Some of them are about culture and society, some are about art, some are about his thoughts on the world of writing and make-believe, and just a whole host of different essays. So it's all nonfiction. They are all really good. I've read most of the essays in here, actually. I haven't read all of them, so I guess I can't say they're all really good, but I have no doubt that all of them are very good. But this is one of those things that you can go through, and kind of like an encyclopedia, you can choose a topic you want to look at, you're more interested in, and read more about Neil's thoughts on it. So really, really good book. And this is kind of cool. It has the nice cool deckled edges on it. It's a nice edition. Now, those who know about Neil Gaiman know that he had a very fun and lively relationship with Terry Pratchett. And so they wrote a book together, of course, and that would be Good Omens. This is an absolutely hilarious book. It's a religious satire, so if you enjoy that sort of thing, if you enjoy stuff like the movie Dogma, things like that, you will really enjoy Good Omens. In fact, Good Omens is way better than Dogma ever was. But it follows an angel and a demon who are supposed to be playing their part to bring about the end of the world, and all of a sudden the Antichrist turns up missing, and they have been around on the earth together so long that they've become fast friends anyway, so they really don't want the world to end. Crowley is the demon and Aziraphale is the angel, and it is just a really fun romp. I mean, you've got the order of the sisterhood of the chattering nuns who sing songs to Satan. It's funny. It's just really, really funny, and I think you all should pick it up. This edition is beautifully illustrated. I mean, look at that picture of Crowley. Just fantastic. Maybe you've seen the mini-series, so you're familiar with that. Now, you have heard me gush about how much I love Ocean at the End of the Lane. And this, the next book, is the hardcover illustrated edition of Ocean at the End of the Lane. One of my prized possessions. I love this book so much, and I am so happy that I got to get my hands on this special collector's edition of it. Just some beautiful artwork in there. This follows a man who is returning to his hometown from his childhood for a funeral, and as he arrives in town, he begins to have all of these memories flood back as if a veil was lifted about the girl who lived in the house down at the end of the lane that was adjacent to a pond, which was deeper than a pond, kind of like the TARDIS. It's bigger on the inside. It was more of an ocean once you get in there, and it's just this weird, witchy, magical story, and I had a blast. He thought he wrote it for his wife, Amanda Palmer, too, which I thought was kind of cool. Another favorite of mine is Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman, and I just should forewarn you, yes, this is my Neil Gaiman shelf, so today we'll be mostly talking Neil Gaiman. Neverwhere follows Richard, who is a male retelling of Alice in Wonderland, but it's set in London. You've got London above and London below, and it's been so long since I read it, I can't quite remember which is the magical London and which is the real London, but you know, this probably loosely inspired some stuff in Harry Potter. Maybe I don't know. But you've got your magical London and your real London, and just a fantastic book. And I was able to get a hold of this beautiful illustrated hardcover edition. And I mean, you've just got some spectacular artwork in there. I just love this edition so much. So check that out, Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman, and get your hands on this. This is a great edition. Now, if you like Norse mythology, then you will love Norse Mythology by Neil Gaiman. Neil puts his own unique spin on some of his favorite myths from the annals of Norse culture, and just some really fun stuff in here. You get to see all the antics of Loki, and you get to follow the adventures of Thor and Odin, and it's just a wild ride. One of the stories in here in particular, my absolute favorite, is the wedding of Freya. I was dying. It was so funny. I just could not stop laughing at certain parts of that story. And there's other stuff like that in here too, guys. It's a real fun ride. Okay. And the next book is Trigger Warning. This is a collection of short stories by Neil Gaiman. Neil Gaiman is one of the best at writing short fiction that I have seen, so you definitely want to check him out. This is, as it says, a collection of disturbing stories. Not all of them are super disturbing, but many of them are very disturbing. One of my favorites is The Truth is a Cave in the Black Mountains. That's in here. You've got a story about Shadow Moon, who is the main character in American Gods. He's got a short story in here for him, for that character. Just a really, really good book. So that's on my shelf as well. Oh, and the deckled pages again. I love that stuff. Okay, so this is a collection of 3 Neil Gaiman books. And I believe these are the UK editions, but I was able to buy it on Amazon. The first is The Graveyard Book. This follows Bod. Actually, his name is Nobody, because he was found as a baby crawling around the graveyard, and the ghosts who are caretakers of the graveyard didn't know who he was, so they named him Nobody. And so his nickname is Bod, and follows his adventures as he grows up and learns the ways of navigating the ghostly world of the graveyard. It is so much fun. And this is the illustrated edition by Chris Riddle. So there you go. The next book in this collection is Coraline. Now, you may be familiar with the movie Coraline, wrought by the genius of Tim Burton, and that's because he put his head together with the genius of Neil Gaiman. And Neil Gaiman had written this book, and then he got together with Tim Burton to make the movie. Really, really fun and unique story about a girl who meets her other mother and her other father in this weird world on the other side of her wall. It's just really strange and really fun. And the final in this collection is Fortunately the Milk. Now, this is a middle grade or lesser story. It's a really quick read. Great to read with your kids, if your kids are younger. It's about a dad who goes out to buy milk at the store, and he takes so long that he has to come up with some kind of tale to tell his kids why he was gone so long. And it's just this fun and extremely strange adventure that he goes on, and at every twist and turn his life is saved because he has the milk. So fortunately he had the milk, or he might have met his demise. It's so much fun, guys. I highly recommend picking that one up. American Gods. I spoke briefly about this a few minutes ago. This follows Shadow Moon, the main character, as he gets roped into the affairs of the ancient gods from Norse mythology and African mythology, as they try to recover some semblance of their power and prestige and authority in a world that has forgotten them, and replace them essentially with the gods of technology and social media. It's a really, really fun book, and it's not my favorite of Neil Gaiman's books, mind you, but it is a lot of fun. I do have another copy of The Graveyard Book. I've already talked about it, so I won't say much, but it's got some great illustrations in it too, so I'll probably keep it. It was a gift somebody gave me, so there you go. Unnatural Creatures is a collection of stories that were selected by Neil Gaiman. It's written by different authors, but if he puts his stamp of approval on it, I have no doubt they're great stories. I have not read this book yet, but I'm looking forward to eventually getting to it and seeing what it's all about. I do have another copy of Ocean at the End of the Lane. This is has the deckled edges too. It's kind of cool. This was my replacement copy for my original hardcover edition that got ruined by somebody who borrowed it, and that was my first mistake, but you learn. So I bought this so I could read it again, because I didn't want to further destroy the copy that was already falling apart. So I have this, and then I happened to get the illustrated edition, as you saw before. So So yeah, I do have an extra copy of this. I may unhaul it or gift it or, do a giveaway at some point. And speaking of giveaways, I may also do the same with Neverwhere. This is my original copy of Neverwhere. I have fond memories of reading this, but I don't really feel like I need 2 copies of it. So I'm very excited to eventually maybe either unhaul this or give it away. I'll probably do a giveaway for it. Stardust. This is such a great book. This is a tale following Tristram Thorn as he goes on an adventure to recover a fallen star to give to the woman he loves, or that he thinks he loves, so that they can live happily ever after. And along the way he gets wrapped up into all sorts of danger because there's other people hunting for the star, including some witches who continue to live their young lives because of drinking the blood of a star. It's a really interesting and strange tale, but it works. It's so much fun. You've got witches and unicorns, and it's just so much fun. And the movie is equally fun. I highly recommend watching the movie as well. Anansi Boys. This is a it's not a sequel necessarily. It's kind of a side story in the world of American Gods. I think he is writing a sequel to American Gods, but this is not it. This follows the Nancy Boys, and they are African deities, and it follows their adventures in that world. Now, I have not read this one. I do eventually plan to read it, but I've heard really great things about it, so. I'm going to do these 2 books together because they are short story collections. One is Fragile Things and one is Smoke and Mirrors. Just some other great collections of Neil Gaiman short stories, which I have not read yet. I haven't read these, so I will eventually, and I will let you know what I think. But yes, Fragile Things and Smoke and Mirrors. And finally, without further ado, I give you The Sandman. Now this is Sandman Overture. This is like a prequel to the other 11 volumes of Sandman. And this follows Dream, or Morpheus, also known as the Sandman, as he escapes imprisonment and then goes about correcting all the misfortunes that are happening in the world via people's dreams. And it's just a wild ride. You meet a lot of DC Comics characters in the story, like Batman and John Constantine and stuff, because it was a Vertigo imprint, which is now part of DC Comics. So it's part of the DC Comics line, and he had rights to incorporate some of those into his stories. It's just a really fun mashup and great storytelling. I can't wait to finish the series. I'll be starting volume 7 soon. And the mini-series is coming out on Netflix eventually, so I'm looking forward to that. So make sure that you pick up The Sandman. It is literally Neil Gaiman's magnum opus. So, that concludes my first shelf. There will be more shelves to come. So stick around. I will be releasing other videos in the coming weeks, and then I'll eventually come back to shelf number 2. So you gotta stay tuned. Make sure you are subscribed, and if you want notifications, you can hit the bell. I've got some exciting stuff coming up in the next few videos. I can't wait to share with you. So that's it, folks. I'm Chaz, and I hope you have a wonderful day. make sure that you're reading more books. Talk to you soon. Bye.